All right, guys. Speaking of terrible stuff, let's start talking about Ahsoka.
Oh my God!
On Disney Plus.
Again.
We don't have to talk about it very long. We just need to like mention it.
Well, so basically, it's season 5 of Rebels. It's a new live action Star Wars TV series starring Rosario Dawson as the character of Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. And it's from the brain of Dave Filoni. And if you haven't watched any of the cartoons, you probably don't know anything that's going on. So on the Salty Saturday live stream, we're going to be kind of reviewing the show as we go along. We typically kind of latch on to like one TV show and review it throughout the course of its run here on the live stream. We did it with Rings of Power. We did it with Strange New Worlds. And now we did it with Picard, I think.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it with Ahsoka. And if you guys have been watching the recent Star Wars Disney Plus shows, you know the sad state that Star Wars is in. Like The Mandalorian has steadily gone down the tubes. A lot of people were bored by Andor. Snorefest. I actually enjoyed it.
Of course you did.
But Ahsoka is kind of like a weird hybrid of the dumbness of The Mandalorian and the boringness of Andor. And so a lot of people have been very critical of it. But Brian, I'm going to throw this to you to start off with. What were your thoughts of the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka?
I fell asleep multiple times. It's boring. It's cringy. I have no interest whatsoever in Star Wars. We've had this conversation several times now. I keep being forced to watch these new Star Wars shows, and they're never interesting. They're just never interesting. They're just so boring. It's just so god-awful boring. Like the pacing.
Like me talking about Andor.
It's something about it. And someone was like, well, you're not going to like it unless you watch Rebels. And I'm like,
it's true.
But that's not good for a TV show. Like, you have to go watch this cartoon in order to understand our TV show. That is stupid.
It's literally season 5 of the Rebels cartoon.
Well, it's very silly because I didn't watch Rebels. So in order for me to enjoy Osaka, I have to watch.
It's not Osaka.
Whatever it is.
It's not Ashoka.
Osaka, whatever. In order for me to enjoy this, I have to go watch a cartoon. And nothing wrong with cartoons, but like I've never seen it and I have no interest in watching it. So and everyone keeps telling me that, like, oh, you don't understand because you didn't watch Rebels. I'm like,
well, okay. Brian, I do appreciate one thing about it, and that is they did kind of take a hard line that they don't give a shit about you if you didn't watch Rebels. You know what I mean?
They should have called it Rebels.
So the move, they should have just said Rebels season 5,
right? Yeah,
live action. But I get what you're saying. It's not for you. It's not for Matt. If you didn't watch the Rebels show. This series is for me. Because I bothered to watch Rebels when it came out because I'm that idiot who watches everything that's thrown at me like a fool that comes out of Lucasfilm in studios. And I keep telling myself that I'm not a Star Wars guy anymore, and I'm not. But yet my name's Matt Vader. And who am I kidding? You know?
Yeah.
It's just but it's not good. It's not good. You know, I'm gonna do the review like they talk on the show because we need to get some time.
That's how they talk on
the show. This is how Ahsoka speaks because they need those minutes. Those minutes.
Activate.
They could have condensed this show, this hour and a half or whatever, hour and 45 minutes, probably shrunk it down to about 45 minutes. If they had everybody like speak at a normal pace.
At a normal pace. I want someone to edit that and just edit it to be normal pacing.
Watch it at 1.5 speed. It'll be normal.
I definitely want to watch it now that you're.
Yeah,
it'll easily be about 37 minutes.
Yeah.
My question is no one asking for an action-packed Star Wars show?
Who is this for?
I mean, everybody says they're just so boring, and it's because there's no action.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just more of what they've been doing. I mean,
it's just so boring. Andor was so god awful boring.
It was terrible.
I really liked the Andor, but
I know my brother did too, but it was so boring.
Matt Vader, do you want to give us your review of the first 2 episodes of the show?
I'm not giving it a grade yet because it's just there's no point in giving it a grade because we just got the introduction. We just getting the show going. I'll give it a grade when we're done 6 episodes from now. But I don't even know what to say about it. I came in here. I was prepared to do this at home. On my computer at home, I have a whole list of shit that I wrote down. That's the goods and the bads, and I don't remember any of it, of course, because I was just going to read it, so I didn't bother like making a mental image of it.
Right.
But there was a couple things that I did like. I did like the actress who plays Sabine. I thought she was pretty good. I liked Chopper. Chopper was pretty cool, but Chopper is just an extension of his cartoon self because he literally is a cartoon. I think he's probably all CGI, right? So, it sounds like they got the same sound effects and everything. And I did like Sabine, but the characters, like Hera, I feel like she's completely miscast. She doesn't sound the same. She doesn't look the same. She doesn't act the same. And I'm kind of having that same issue with Rosario playing Ahsoka. Is I don't feel like she's capturing the character like she should. She's, Ahsoka's an energetic, kind of fun but serious character who has her own way and style of doing things. And all Rosario is doing is that her name, Rosario Dawson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is she? I don't know if she's trying to make it her own character, if she's trying to make her older or whatever. But I feel like she's just missing something. She's too methodical the way she speaks about things, and it's just
maybe the director.
Well, and that's the other thing. This is a Filoni thing, right? This is Filoni's not George Lucas.
Everything's Filoni.
And if you're not familiar with the Filoni verse, which is Clone Wars and Ahsoka and Mandalorian and all those characters, then then you're not gonna know what the hell's going on. And this is, like I said, this is an extension of season 5 of Rebels. So if you don't know who Ezra is or Thrawn and all that kind of stuff, then you're not going to know what's going on. And the fact that they're actually retconning Heir to the Empire, the Timothy Zahn books, and turning it into this, I feel is kind of like what they've been doing, what they've been setting up in Rebels or on Mandalorian and all that stuff before. Then you're just going to get upset with how this ends up turning out. So I don't know, man. I don't really have much of a review for it yet, other than it's just kind of a
talk faster.
It's a bland talk faster.
Less shots of like long hallways. Like, for the love of God, like get to the point.
There's that one scene where we get introduced to Sabine, right? And she's on her bike on the world's longest freeway,
right?
And that was 5 minutes of her just going fast on the freeway with weird.
It's
rock music
insane.
in the background.
It's like, guys, we got to fill an hour and a half. What are we gonna do? Like, I don't understand. Maybe we're too old for this. Maybe like young people. Maybe they're so stuck in like TikTok.
There's the scene where she's speeding towards the guy, and they pulled the cop car over or whatever. The cop speeder in front of her. We're gonna make her stop. It's like, oh, she's getting closer. What are you doing? Oh, she's getting closer. What are you doing? She's getting closer. But they did that back and forth.
Get to the point.
Like 15 times.
I know, it's crazy.
We get it. We know what you're doing. It was ridiculous.
It's like the opposite
the
of
only cool thing in this show is the new bad guy who looks kind of sort of a little bit like me, but I can go out and cosplay him at Star Trek convention next year.
R.I.P. Ray Stevenson.
Yeah. He's pretty dope. I do like him, but they're just trying to make him a Darth Vader without the mask.
So, hey guys. If you could do me a quick favor, if you like this episode and it tickles your fancy, or any other episode that we've done in the past, share it on social media and tag us in that post so that we know you're talking about us, and we will immediately jump onto that app and we will respond to your tag, and we can talk about what you like about the episode and possibly talk about something that we might want to cover in the future. And we would love to bring you in our community. We have a wonderful Discord app as well. There's a bunch of people in there that just love chatting with us. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you like this podcast, tag us in that post and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much. Back to the podcast.
So let me ask you guys this, Brian and Vader. At the end of episode 1, we have a lightsaber duel between Sabine. Is that her name?
Yeah. Sabine.
Sabine and the new gray Jedi apprentice girl.
Her name is.
And it was a very awkward fight. But at the end, the big cliffhanger is that Sabine gets like run through the chest with a lightsaber.
But
that this has sparked a meme because we've seen so many people get like stabbed by lightsabers and survive, and there's like Qui-Gon Jinn's the only one who got stabbed and died. And so like everyone's saying like lightsabers just like aren't deadly.
Well, it's because Qui-Gon's a pussy.
Lightsabers aren't deadly.
But I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that, because the first thing that we see in episode 2 is basically Sabine. She's been treated at a hospital and she survived. So like
she got put in a Bacta tank.
Yeah,
what's the big deal? I don't know what the problem is. Right.
Well, my problem is why are you thrusting your lightsaber? If your intent is to kill, why don't you slash?
Yeah.
Like the whole, like, these aren't swords. Like, we need to stop acting like lightsabers are swords. And they're just like, they're thrusting the lightsaber.
Disney's
the
never
same
known
problem,
how to
had the same
lightsaber.
problem in Obi-Wan. What?
Disney doesn't know how to lightsaber.
No, they don't. No, they
never
don't.
have. Never
No,
have.
they, yeah, you're totally right. I had the same issue in Obi-Wan when she was run through with the, not that she, the other guy, the other lightsaber wannabe was run through.
the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, was run through with the lightsaber, and you're like, oh, he died, right? No, he's gonna be fine.
He'll be good.
He'll
Filming
be
some
good.
back-
Well, even Reva got run through by Darth Vader
Twice,
I
believe.
Yeah, twice. Once when she was a kid and once when she was an adult. And she survived both times, enough to like go to Tatooine to try to murder Luke.
You know, I think they had the lightsabers.
Start
turned
moving the
on-
lightsaber around.
They
Move it
had
around.
the lightsabers turned on the low heat setting.
Yeah.
You know, you have the low heat setting, and then you can crank it up when you want to melt through blast doors.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Instead
know,
of
so
thrusting, like, just when you thrust through and then just like drag it to the left real quick, and your
Right.
problem is solved.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah,
Crazy.
it's just more silly Disney.
So I want to ask Jamie, I know that you don't watch Star Wars, but one of the things that Disney has been very adamant about is trying to bring more women into being Star Wars fans by, making their stuff like very female centric. And with this like one of the things I noticed right off the bat, and it's kind of a carry on from the cartoon, but still basically like the only men in this show are either bad guys or complete incompetents who get killed right away.
Sounds like
So like as someone who's not a fan of Star Wars, and my fiance Jude is also kind of in this camp, she just doesn't care. And so like they seem to be alienating their male fan base to try to recruit a female fan base, but the females don't really seem interested in Star Wars. So like I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, I tried really hard to be interested in it. I don't know if you remember this, babe, but we went through a phase where I was like, I'm going to watch every Star Wars movie. And he would quiz me and he'd be like, who worked? I don't even remember the question you asked me, but I had
Who trained who?
Who trained who? That's what I meant. And I knew like Qui-Gon Jinn did this person and this person, but I didn't retain the information because I think it's just too much. And I don't know if that's just because, I don't think that's because I'm a woman. I feel like that's just my brain is like, it was so much information. It was all out of order.
Yeah.
It was like I couldn't get past some of the cheesy lines in the older
So
versions
cheesy.
of it. Yeah, so I don't know that it's a woman thing as much as it is like some people's brains just can't handle that much information. I did like Rogue One.
Yeah. I was going to ask you
Yeah,
what
Rogue
your
One was
favorite Star Wars quote is that you say all the time.
It's so stupid. It's not even funny, but we laughed our butts off when Luke first meets Yoda and he like brings him into this little cave
his little hut. Yeah.
and he like he like makes him
Young
soup.
twink boy, would you like some soup? Luke?
That's incredible. That's a good impersonation.
I was thinking of the
Thank
one with Anakin.
Oh, well, okay, hold on. There's
Yeah,
two.
go ahead.
So he's making Luke all this soup, and at some point, Luke finally is just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. We laughed our butts off because it was like it just dawned on him he was in a cave with this creature.
He's upset.
But yeah, the Hayden Christensen one, I green screened myself into the scene where he's talking to Natalie Portman.
I
and
hate
he's,
sand.
I don't like sand.
I hate sand.
It's coarse and rough. It gets everywhere.
Gets
I couldn't get past. So it's
Chase.
nothing personal.
Gets in your armor. Sucks. Gets in your undies.
So I see the appeal. I see why people like it, but it was like the combination of too much information, too many people to keep track of, plus some of the cheese.
It's so cheese.
I liked Rogue One, and I liked the one with Rey. You know, I don't remember the name of
Force
it.
Awakens.
You have to leave now.
I'm sorry.
Get out.
It was entertaining.
Yeah. Rogue One was the best.
No,
though.
The Force Awakens had potential in I was actually, when that movie got over, I was like, okay, well, there's Luke finally. But then when Dickhead came along and made the second movie,
Adam Driver.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson came along and Luke threw the lightsaber down the cliff, and
he made his World War II movie in space.
That was awful. It was just, that was the end. That was, he's like, Force Awakens wasn't great, and it was, in fact, it wasn't very good at all because they killed everybody. But it's just yeah, I can't even speak on it right now.
It could have been a good foundation. It could have been a good foundation. What came after it is what made it bad.
I've spoke about these movies so much in the last 3 years that when I try to do it again, my brain starts shutting down. It's
too much information.
Yeah.
But do you think their strategy is working? Are more women kind of like talking about Star Wars or becoming fans?
Not in my experience. But it is incredibly creative. I mean, what is his name? George Lucas?
Yeah. That would be the guy.
Sorry, I'm not too well versed on that. But I mean, I could never come up with a story like this. So I definitely respect the whole franchise. I just don't know. I don't know what it would take to make more of the ladies interested.
Well, I'll say this about Ahsoka. So I'm in the minority yet again. I did enjoy these 2 episodes. But again, I've gotten so far removed from like actually caring about Star Wars that like, I'm fine with it. But I like the slow pace of Andor as well. And so like, I didn't find these things boring at all. But one of the things that did interest me is that, so Dave Filoni, who, is the guy behind the show, he was the showrunner, but he also wrote and directed the first episode. He is very much deliberately mimicking George Lucas's style. Like he worships at the altar of George Lucas so much.
He was his Padawan learner.
He is his Padawan learner, that he's basically emulating George Lucas's directing style in this episode, which means that like you get a lot of stilted performances. You get a lot of like very like long shots of special effects and stuff like that. And one of the things I liked about these 2 episodes was like, to me, it felt like a Star Wars thing. And it was because Filoni was just basically mimicking George Lucas. And so I'm willing to kind of like go along for this ride, even though like I don't really know any of the characters or care about them or think, the story is necessarily good. But I did like the fact that like the woman who's kind of like the MacGuffin of like the series so far, the Dathomir witch, who is trying to get to Thrawn. We saw her in season 2 of The Mandalorian when we first saw Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka. She was the one that she fought in order to on that planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And I didn't recognize her at first because the entire time I'm sitting there thinking like where's this plot thread from? Did we see this in the Rebels cartoon? That's actually from Mandalorian season 2. So like I like the callback of that, and I really like Ray Stevenson's character. I just didn't like the whole like stupid white male captain who's like, I'm going to call their bluff and let them on our ship.
He's dead immediately.
Yeah. And also like if a ship shows up claiming to be Jedi, it's like, why would you think they're bluffing?
Yeah.
Like that makes them stand out, like
because all the Jedi are supposed to be dead at that point.
Exactly. So like there's a lot of problems with the show, but like I'm so far beyond caring about Star Wars that like I just like can overlook all of them and kind of like turn my brain off and enjoy it for what it is, which is basically Dave Filoni's, next iteration of George Lucas.
I do
Star
have
Wars.
one complaint that I do want to bring up really quick right now. Is they had an opening crawl.
Yeah.
Every Star Wars movie has an opening crawl. The words in front. It goes into the back.
Too long.
And they did that this time, but they made it completely different than a Star Wars crawl. They just put the words flat on the screen and just put it up. It wasn't a Star Wars crawl, right?
Someone tell the editor to adjust the camera angle, like just drop that perspective, like
There's
20%.
also red lettering and stuff.
Yeah,
Star Wars,
which was
lettering.
I think was a callback to something. Was there another one that did it red? Was it? But anyway, it doesn't matter. But they did the crawl wrong, and from that point forward, it's like, okay, this is like a 25% different bullshit. From
That's what it feels like. Yeah,
right.
Like Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it just is what it is.
But why not do it the regular Star Wars way? Like, why not just? It's such a weird. It's so weird.
How did your brain?
I'm not gonna get mad about this shit. It's dumb.
As soon as I read the crawl, I'm like, too long, didn't read.
It's so long.
Yeah.
It's ADD.
Well, I would look at him, but they also expect you to know stuff. I feel like every Star Wars movie is geared to people who are already fans.
And that's the problem with a show like this is it is a direct extension of a cartoon. that many people didn't watch.
A lot of
And
them.
and if you haven't watched that cartoon, you don't know who any of these characters are.
Yeah. As soon as the words come on, I look at him. I'm like, what's the Republic? What's this?
Yeah.
Who's Emperor Palpatine?
The governments have like a couple different names.
Yeah. It's just too much information.
Yeah. I hear you.
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.